Newcastle Arsenal, there was a lot of there was a lot of polemic. There was a lot about the game. What did you think about the game? It's like I watched the game, but Arsenal did miss some key talent, also key players.
Yeah, for sure.
But Newcastle did a great job at containing them outside the box.
Yeah, I mean, you still had Saka and Martinelli there they did not show up at all.
Yeah, and the Newcastle did a great job at taking spaces from a lot of the wingers when it was time. They overall, I think they really set the rhythm for the game and they controlled the game perfectly. And it was up to Arsenal to make a move or to score, but they didn't.
Yeah, it was a very rough, scrappy game. There weren't a lot of convincing chances overall, but what it was a very brutal game for like hard-earned possession.
Yeah,
you know, when you had possession of the ball, like you had to earn it. It was very fast-paced and very, very, very tetchy in the center of the park. And again, Declan Rice has a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And you can tell that he was sort of attempting tactically, it wasn't just like a decision that he made, to be more of the offensive build-up, kind of like an Odegaard.
Yeah.
But obviously not with the same skill set, not doing the exact same things, but ultimately being in charge of moving the ball up and instead of distributing it out, really looking to actually create those first-hand chances. Not as effective as Odegaard in that way, but at the end of the day, not many players right now in the Premier League are that good at what Martin Odegaard does. He still had a great game. I think that it was a really good day for Gabriel and Saliba. I think Gabriel in particular, because I do think that foul that led to the goal on Joe Linton, that was a foul.
There's a lot of controversies about that.
The difference is if he had bumped him, it's one thing, but the issue is that you actively see the arms extending outward for a push.
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes the foul. You can shoulder check people if you're both going for the ball. That's not an issue. You can send somebody flying. Joe Linton's a big guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that to someone.
Yeah.
But you see him actively push strong enough to where Gabriel's head goes back a little bit.
So there was
a straight up push.
There was three things in this in this goal, right? The one will be the ball out of bounds. 2 will be the potentially offside, and 3 will be the push. So if I'm eliminating the ball out of bounds, I think for me it will be a goal. It will be a goal. But when I watched it, the ball was out of bounds before the cross.
It was, and they didn't
definitely out.
They didn't spend enough time on it either.
That's why I was.
Because the offsides one was easier to call, but like, you're not gonna zoom in. You're like, what happened to their little bullshit like lines that they drew?
I think the whole VAR a point of conversation was more on the action in the goal, forgetting the action that led to that.
Yep.
And for me, that's why I said the push I could do with that. If it was just the push and offside, because it wasn't an offside, so then the question would be, was it a push or no? But we could do that. What I could do with that. But when I watched the action, the cross from what was the cross from? That was
Bruno, wasn't it?
Was it Bruno?
Guimaraes? I believe so.
It might be.
I thought he chased it down in the corner.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because he should have possibly been sent off at some point in the game as well.
Yeah, he was.
And
really
and to be fair, before anyone says anything about it, I think
he kept.
Havertz could have possibly gone as well.
Yeah,
that was a really risky challenge, and then he kept pushing the there were a lot of players that should have been carded either early or more extreme in the game. It became very chippy, and then that allows for Joe Linton's a very passionate player. Which passionate in this game sometimes means I make stupid choices when I'm pissed off. And so that push, I think, was part of that because it was a very chippy thing.
It's 1-1.
They just leveled it up.
Chelsea just scored. But I think that what the other Arteta said. Arteta said that was like a 3-point loss. I don't think Arsenal played well enough for the game or for them to have won that game.
Oh, I agree with that.
I wouldn't saying it was a 3-point loss is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
At best would have been a 1-1. 1-1 in the sense that I could, if that goal was disallowed, the game could have ended up 0-0. But again, we were talking in hypotheticals and ifs and maybes, because we don't know too, because scoring a goal sometimes set the motion of how the game is going to go mentally and mentally especially. So you don't know if it was 0-0, Arsenal could have scored, because now they know we are still level up. So anything can happen.
And I'll say this as well. Removing the 3 VAR checks in that build-up, I think that Ramsdale makes the save.
Yeah.
Because David Raya has proven so far he is not very reliable in punching out crosses.
Mm-hmm.
He is not as big. He is not as tall or as imposing. And he has a tendency to flap at crosses. I think that if Ramsdale is in the box at that point, he has the height and the positioning to get up and at least get the ball out of the reach of a Joe Linton, Anthony Gordon, and Gabriel right on the goal line. That's the thing. He let the ball drop right at the goal line. At least Ramsdale, I think at least, would have fisted it out and gotten it at least toward the edge of the box where you had to reshape and rebuild the offensive buildup. I think that, call it what you want about the 3 VAR calls that were skeptical. I think if Ramsdale is in there, and again, the scoreline could have been something different. Maybe Ramsdale makes a mistake later in the game. I don't know, because he didn't play. But what I do, I genuinely believe that Ramsdale would have gotten that ball out for sure.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can say. I feel like the whole now it just puts back in question the whole VAR. Like, I know Pep Guardiola said it was a sensitive topic. Are we gonna finally address the issues, especially in the Premier League, about VAR all year round?
Because it's really the Premier League that's the most affected.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. So the referee's body. And even the players and some of the managers got to be involved to talk about these issues, because so far this season there's been way too many VAR polemics.
Speaking of, they just ruled off the Chelsea goal from a VAR.
So,
and they ruled off another one from Tottenham like 8 minutes ago. And again, we haven't seen them to know if they're good calls or not, but it's just like, fuck, every single goal is being brought down to this crazy, I don't know. It's obviously not working.
I wish we could go back in the days of no VARs, but again, if we go back to the days,
look good to me.
Well, if we go back to the days, we were gonna have the hand of God. We're gonna have goals like that. So then the question will become, how do we safely win a game, or how do 2 teams go in battle and play the sport right? So,
and it really does affect morale in the stadium as well.
Because
there are no big releases of energy from the crowd. It's always a sort of standing around and waiting for the linesman to figure out what the fuck is going on.
And that is true.
And players don't even celebrate anymore.
It kind of kills that atmosphere.
You kind of just have to wait for about 30 seconds, sometimes 4 minutes. And by that point, I don't want to celebrate. I don't care if my team did score or not. Like, it's cold, it's raining, I've got to piss, and you're taking away my happy moment.